Good evening, welcome to Central News for Wednesday, the 18th of December. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Promoters of Matamata Christmas in the Park are hailing the event as a great success with an estimated over 2,000 people attending. International sensation The Lads entertain the crowds, as well as local dance company Aspire and Waikato band The Latest Fallout. Beachgoers are being warned to stay alert for the return of an elusive summer beach bug after a number of Papamoa residents reported being bitten in the last 2 weeks. Between the months of November and March, a larvae dubbed the Mount Mauler lives in the sandy dunes of the ocean beaches, causing itchy red bites on beachgoers. There is still a level of uncertainty about the bug's exact origin, but many scientists believe it is the work of the Psychosexis limbata, a larvae present in soft sand around the country. The translucent bug often covers its victims, and while the bites are not painful or noticeable when they're occurring, welts can appear 2 or 3 hours later. Papamoa Pines Medical Centre Practice Manager Wendy Bibby says the centre has already received a few cases of the bug ahead of the busy summer period. Now for our region's weather, Thursday for you Hamilton will have a few morning showers and then fine with a fresh southwesterly. Your expected high is 22 and an overnight low of 8. Tauranga mostly fine, but there is the chance of a shower or two. Your expected high is 24 and an overnight low of 12. Just ahead, teen drinking. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. New alcohol laws came into effect today. On-licensed premises nationwide will now have to close their doors at 4 a.m. Off-licences will have to shut at 11 p.m. and adults could now face a fine if they supply alcohol to a minor who is not their child. Police are preparing to enforce the new laws in the lead up to Christmas. But what can you do as a parent to protect your teen? I caught up with Jackie Payne from The Parenting Place. We discussed the drinking culture and how to know if your teen is drinking at someone else's house.
I think that comes back to that whole parenting thing of trust that you can bring up, build up with your child over time. So if your child is someone that you can trust from a very young age, then you can let out the boundaries a little bit as they become teenagers. We talk about something in the courses called the V of Love, which is about how as a child gets older they get more choices, but they also have more responsibility and their boundaries are let out a little bit. If you try and put some really strict boundaries in when they're teenagers, they'll rebel. And so if you trust your child, there's a place for letting them go certain places at certain ages. And then when they break the trust, obviously you'll have to bring the boundaries back in until they can re-establish that trust again. There's things you can do when your child starts going to parties, and that's maybe have the whole idea of going and visiting the people that they're going to be at the party, or making sure you at least ring ahead. That's okay. It's okay to ring ahead and say, hey, look, I'm the parent of whoever. I'm just checking out that my child is going to be at your place. And if there's going to be alcohol, if there's going to be an adult supervising, and what time you expect them to be finished. And then as they get even older, by the time they're 18 maybe, you can be saying to them, reassure me, tell me where you're going, when you're going to be home, is there going to be alcohol, have you got a sober driver? And so that's the whole communication thing with teenagers that you need to keep building on from when they're very little.
Can we as a parent influence who our child becomes friends with?
I think we can. There's a really interesting thing that they reckon that children make friends with people they think they like. So they look for people around them. They surround themselves with people that they see themselves being like. And so that comes back again to how do we build our child's self-esteem? Are we encouraging them? Are we saying the right things to them? Are we believing in them? Are we allowing them to dream their dreams and fulfill their dreams? I think a child with really good self-esteem and who think okay about themselves are actually going to be less involved with drinking and drugs and all those other things.
Is social media having an effect on teens and their drinking?
I think it becomes easier to know what's happening when with social media, so it can be a bit more spontaneous. Instead of saying, oh, well, next Friday we're going to plan a party and this is where it's going to be and we have to let everyone know, we can now do it instantly. So we can be planning a night at home and suddenly we're text to tell us there's a party and we can be there very quickly, which can get things out of hand, I think, a lot quicker.
Have you heard of many teenage girls experiencing sexual assault while intoxicated in Tauranga?
Not personally, but people have told me that it is happening more. There's a bit of a culture of young teenage girls getting drunk and being downtown, and then people like older men turning up later in the evening to pick them up and supposedly take them home. But I haven't had a personal experience of that, so I can't give you statistics or numbers. They do say that most sexual encounters of teenagers are under the influence of alcohol, which is a little bit sad. And I think that too, you can sell your children a dream. I think it's really important to keep communication going when your teenager is around your dinner table or before they go to bed at night or whatever, and just have the culture of questioning, you know, what would be your dream partner? What would they be like? You know, hey, what do you think is a really good age to start drinking? And what do you reckon about sex? You know, is it okay to have sex before you find your permanent partner? Those sorts of questions are really important as families to unpack together, so they have a sort of whole build-up of information inside them that they can live to.
How can parents of young girls teach them to be safe and responsible when drinking?
I think it comes back to your boundaries. I think it's okay to say, actually at 16 you're not allowed to drink. At 17 maybe you can have a drink with us at home, but only with us. At 18, yes, you can go to a party where there's a drink, but you can only have one or two. It is okay to put those boundaries around teenagers and stick to them. I think the whole thing of, it's interesting with teenagers because they haven't got any risk assessment, the whole scare tactic doesn't work. So it's, you know, it's no good just saying, hey, if you drink this might happen, or if you take drugs, you know, something terrible is going to happen to you. If you have sex, you're going to get an STD. Those sorts of things don't work because generally children's brains don't develop fully until about 25, and so they don't have risk assessment. So it's way, way more effective to sell children a dream. So being able to say, what does your future look like? You know, what do you see yourself doing? What is your career? Is it going to be helpful to you to be drunk every weekend if that's your dream?
Can we teach our teens to drink sensibly?
Modelling's a big one on that, and I think as parents we have to be really careful what image we're portraying. If we're drinking every weekend heavily, then we can't expect our children to drink sensibly. So the whole thing with expectations and modelling is a big one.
I mean, does the problem go deeper? I mean, New Zealand has a binge drinking culture. How can we ask our teenagers not to binge drink if everyone else is doing it around them?
At the point of repeating, I think it is selling a dream to children, like believing in them, believing that they can be different, making it okay to be different, and helping them to be the best they can possibly be.
How do we teach our child to respect themselves?
That comes down to, you know, even very, very early parenting. You know, teaching your children, even as toddlers, that they're special, that they're unique, that there's a future for them, that they can dream big, they can do what they want, you know, as far as, you know, achievements. And keeping them busy. You know, kids who are busy kids and not super busy, but involved with sport and music and academics and friendships is really important. The other thing is mentoring for children. It's okay as parents to find another role model, adult role models, and get them involved in your child's life as well. It takes a village to raise a child.
Parliament's website has details of the new law. Coming up next, changing our dairy pastures. Welcome back. Every year, over 15 million children die worldwide of hunger, and some say we should be looking at more sustainable methods of land use, and part of this could be growing more crops to feed the world. I spoke with Stu Wadey of Federated Farmers to see if we should be looking at converting dairy pastures to crops. If we do have warmer summers, are there predictions that the dairy industry of the Waikato could start to move further south down the country?
I think the move to further south will slow down. Without a doubt, we've got too many farming families in the Waikato that the next generations will always be there, that there will always be a vibrant dairy industry in the Waikato. We will have new management techniques that will make that so. You mentioned move south. At the moment, I am very aware there's a land change use discussion going on over Gisborne, Wairoa and up that east coast, that there will be a dairy industry there where conversions from sheep and beef on some of the incorporations over there. Now, that's not going to be a big difficult issue at all, because now you can just buy dairy factories off the roof, off the shelf. You know, whatever, you just modular form, you can put a dairy factory together compared to years ago that you have to fabricate as you go, you can just buy them off. So we could be able to move east. Going back to the south, the momentum has slowed for conversions in the South Island. North Island will be affected with nutrient requirements in the future, which is being felt now in the South Island. There's some parts of central South Island that stocking rates have had to be reduced on farmers by regulatory bodies because of nutrient leaching. Yes.
So what kind of nutrients will we need in the future?
Okay, well, nutrient leaching that affects them is the nitrogen and phosphate. But there's the ability of the soil to actually capture them and then regenerate them. And that's not happening, and so the authorities are clamping down. So it's made some of these conversions probably a bit on an economic side. In the North Island, in the Waikato, as I said to you before, that there will have to be some radical management changes on dairy production. This could be housing of stock to actually mitigate leaching of nitrogen and phosphate. And so we will have a vibrant dairy industry in the North Island, without a doubt, but it'll be different in 20 years' time. It'll be totally different to what we see now.
Could we be looking at what they have in the Pukekohe, kind of, should we be changing to our land use, growing vegetables? Okay,
well, Pukekohe will be the satellite suburb of Auckland in 2050. We are the Pukekohe of the Waikato in Matamata. We have the Ball Brothers and Wilcox, then two commercial firms that are growing the best potatoes and onions. Onions is a filler for lots of your chutneys. Very, very vibrant in the Matamata area. We will have possibly some changes in our equine industry. They have some challenges because there's talk now that they will never ever produce a Melbourne Cup winner in the Waikato. And that's because a lot of the returns for our race meetings is not generating enough income for them to be sustainable, so they're moving offshore. So we could see some loss of some equine industry in our area of Matamata. But in saying that, we have got a goat industry that's had exponential growth in the last 3 years. Our goat dairy factory in Te Rapa has got market realisations that demand more goat milk, and so there's lots of goat herds starting in the Waikato, and it can even increase. There's a good market for the goat milk because of our cultural changes in New Zealand and our major market in Asia that cater for that demographic. And alpacas, you might laugh, but we're still going to have top market buyers, and alpacas do a fantastic fibre for these really smart clothes and suits. So we could see certainly different land change uses, but it all hinges on our leaders of our community. If they are proactive now and try and bring more industry into our area to keep a lower age demographic, we can't survive being the silver-haired capital of New Zealand. If we want a vibrant community in 40 years' time, we're going to have to bring industries other than agriculture into our area. If we don't do that, then we're going to rely on low-input traditional farming to make a profit. In the end, you've got to make a profit, and the profit is expenditure and income.
Going back to farming goats, what kind of pasture and environment do they need? Okay,
most goats are housed inside because they are sort of a delicate animal to manage if you want them to really produce a good amount of milk. So mainly they're housed inside. It's cut and chocolate, so they bring their food into them when they're milking. When they're dry, they do have the ability to express their natural animal instincts by running out on pasture, but when they're milking, they actually enclosed for their own welfare as well, because they need really good management. But once you get that in place, they are now becoming a very, very profitable farming industry.
And the same with alpacas?
Alpacas started off as an interest, but now if they don't overdo the market and flood the market with their fibre, we do know that there's still going to be the rich and famous in the world that will pay big money for a flash suit or a flash dresses that are made from the fibre of alpaca, which is in some cases better than merino. So
how much does the farming economy have effect on the average community?
Well, in the Waikato, the agriculture is the economic driver. You Google the Waikato, you've got Minesville, Hamilton, Cambridge, and whatever, and you see all green. Agriculture is the driving economy for the Waikato, and it will be that way for many generations to come. What we're going to do is manage how we're going to achieve the production levels to maintain that demographic of population, because how many people in the Waikato derive their income either directly allied or supplementing to agriculture in the Waikato? If agriculture dropped 50% in production, you probably got 70% unemployed.
Just ahead, the Star. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. Eastside Church in Hamilton are running a drive-in movie this Christmas. The Star has been casted, edited and hosted by the church and is screening to the public free from the 18th to the 21st of December. Harriet went to speak with Pastor Sheridan to hear more.
The idea came about because Eastside Church used to do a drive-in Christmas in the past, and it's been over 10 years since that happened now, but people still come to us and say, oh, you're the the drive-through church. And so I thought we really needed to capitalise on that reputation, because obviously it was something significant for the city, and but we need to take a new 2013 take on it. So this is drive-in movie.
So what was that drive-through concept all about?
Well, I wasn't actually here at the time, but I believe the drive-through was that cars would come and they would drive through the church property, and along the way there were different stations. There were bands, there were actors, all sorts of things going on, and essentially the cars would drive through the Christmas story. And so the church got quite a reputation back at that time for it, and hundreds and hundreds of cars would come through every night.
And drive-in, some people might not understand that concept and how it's all going to work. So can you explain for us what that's going to look like?
Well, it's going to happen in our car park. We've got a big screen. It's roughly 10 metres, the screen. And it'll be in the car park, and we will line up all the cars. They'll tune into the movie on their car radios, and then we'll play the movie, which will be played several times a night. The Christmas story, essentially.
You about that tuning in through the car radio. Is any car going to be able to do that?
I really hope so. We've done everything we can to make it work for every car. So it'll just be a matter of tuning into we'll give people the information to tune into the right frequency, and they'll be able to hear it. Worst case scenario, we're also going to have grandstands, and the grandstands will have live sound.
Tell us about the process that you went through as a church in creating this movie.
For me, the process was very easy. I had an idea, and then I've got this group of incredibly talented people that have made it come together. And we've got one young man, Caleb Young, and he's written the script. He's produced, directed the film, and he's acting in the film as well. He's incredibly gifted. So really, I've handed it on to the people with the right know-how, and they've produced a fantastic result.
Now, without giving it away too much, why is The Star worth coming to see?
Because it's unique. It's unique to us. So it's been filmed on location in the Waikato. So this is a Waikato Christmas story. But it's unique in that it tells the whole Christmas story, yet it also brings into it modern family dynamics, modern life issues, and somehow Caleb, when he's written it, has just put it all together into a beautiful story. And I think people will be captivated. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, and it tells a story. It's wonderful.
And where is the movie screening?
It's going to be held at Eastside Church, which is on the corner of Bisley and Wairere, Bisley Road and Wairere Drive, or the gates of Ruakura. And the screen will be in the car park, and we'll do our best to manage the traffic so that everyone gets to see it. And we'll be playing it 4 times a night. So it goes from 7 p.m. through to 10 p.m, the actual program. The movie's 35 minutes long, so cars will come in, watch it, and then we'll guide them out and bring the new setting in after that.
And what time and days will the Star be screening?
December the 18th through to the 21st of December, so 4 nights, 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. on each of those days.
So with this program that you have that's running through the evening, what else will be available to people coming along? Yeah,
because the nature of it, people may have to wait a little while before they see the film. So what we've arranged, we've got food vendors here, we've got coffee vendors, you'll be able to buy anything from an ice cream to a hamburger. There should be some games happening for the kids, we've got carol singers, there'll be giveaways and various things happening the whole time. So I think it's an ideal environment to bring the whole family to, or a car full to, and just make the most if there's a wait of being together, enjoy the environment, what's happening, and then enjoy the film. It'll be fantastic.
So how big is your congregation here at Eastside Church, and what sort of people did you get involved with the making of this movie?
Well, by Hamilton standards, we're a reasonably large congregation, and we have a great diversity from very, very young to older people in the church. We're strong in all areas. And so when we put the call out to make a movie, we've had people come on board across all the generations. I think our youngest actor is around 10 years old, and the oldest one would be in the late 50s. So, and they come from all sorts of walks of life and backgrounds. Wonderful people, and they work really, really hard on this.
And is there a cost to come along?
No, it's free. So, the more the merrier. You just turn up and we'll guide you around through the process. There's no cost whatsoever. Bring some money if you want to buy some food, though, there for the vendors, etc. And
why did you as a church want to put on this production of The Star?
Christmas is such a unique time of the year, and I think over the years what Christmas is about has been blended with so many ideas and commercialism and everything else that we really wanted to give our city a gift of the message of Christmas, but we wanted to do it in a way that people could relate to and people would enjoy and would just suit a wide variety of people. So this is the result.
If people have questions or want to know more about the screening of The Star, what can they do?
They could call Eastside Church 07 855 0260, or they can go to the website, which is www.eastsidechurch.org.nz.
Make sure you do head along to The Star, as it's a unique way to share in the Christmas story. That is the news for today. Join me again tomorrow night as we chat to some locals from our smaller towns who have been successful. In the meantime, you can email us at news@tvcentral.co.nz or like us on Facebook and let us know if you have any of your own news. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.